Hi, everybody. Iris Siriani here. A couple of weeks ago, I did a workshop, a local workshop. It was called Heal Your Love Wounds. And one of the things we talked about in the workshop was our attachment styles. And I had created a quiz that helped the participants identify what their primary attachment style was. And I also emphasize to them that we're not all just one attachment style, and we're not just all one thing. And depending on where we are in our personal growth and spiritual growth journey, we're going to transcend all of those old ways of patterning and develop new beliefs and so on. But the participants that were at this workshop, they were all struggling in some way, shape, or form. Some of them were in new relationships and were really scared. Some of them were leaving relationships and, were frustrated that there was another relationship that would be ending. Some of them were single, some of them were coupled, and it really didn't matter. They were all there to learn something about themselves, and that's a really powerful thing. One of the things that I talked about in the workshop was that we think that our way of interacting in relationship and the patterns that we have in our relationship. That's my little dog in behind me here. We think that our patterns or way of being in relationships stays primarily within the relationship, but it actually doesn't. How we interact and who we are and who we show up as in our relationships actually seeps. That's not the word I wanted to use. I wanted to use another word, but seep is good as well. It also seeps into other areas of our lives and the relationships that we have in other areas of our lives. So, for example, it seeps into our work environment, the relationship that we have with our coworkers, the relationships that we have with our family and friends, the relationships how we show ourselves to even the barista at Starbucks, it even affects our health and well-being. Do we go and work out and take care of our health, or don't we? Or do we say, you know what, I don't feel good about going to the gym. I'm not the size that I want to be. I have to lose weight before I can go to the gym. As an example, it affects our money. It affects so many different areas of our lives because what we've learned from a very, very young age is how to be in the world. Is it okay to say what we want to say? Is it okay to show the world who we really are? Is it safe for me to ask for what I need? Is it okay to ask for a raise? Am I worthy of a raise? Is it okay for me to ask for what I need in a relationship? Or, and some of the patterns that we talked about and how it affected everything was, one of the examples was if you were a people pleaser. So that would be typical. Let's see, something typical for you might be that you, in a relationship, you tend to overgive, overgive, overgive. And the more you give, the more you feel loved and validated. And when that wasn't acknowledged, what you were giving wasn't being acknowledged, then you become insecure within yourselves. So that is a patterning in the relationship, but that patterning also shows up in your work environment. for example. So you might be in the habit of overgiving in your work. So a co-worker needs some help with something and you're the one putting up your hand saying, yeah, I'll do it, but you're actually not getting anything in return for it. So it affects, that's just one example. I could give you hundreds more examples, but that's just one example of how your need to overgive and people pleases shows up not just in your relationship, but also in your relationship with your coworkers, and how you show up in your job and how you can climb to that level of earning potential, because you're allowing yourself to stay small and stay hidden and hide behind because there's an issue of not feeling worthy. So, how we are and how we show up in the world doesn't affect just one thing in our lives. It affects multiple things in our lives. And if you know me personally, or you know me professionally, or if you are just showing up here today, first of all, I'm so grateful that you're watching this today. That means a lot to me. I always welcome your comments, your feedback. I would love to hear how my videos are helping you to express more of who you are. I just wanted to throw that in there right at this particular time. But how we do anything, T. Harv Eker said this, and he may have even coined the phrase, but he says, how we do anything is how we do everything. And I find that everything that we do in our lives has that ripple effect in other areas of our lives, and really stops us for being exactly who we are, showing up and doing things like this video, taking action on something that you want to do for yourself. Taking care of yourself personally is a huge one as well. Another thing that we talked about in the workshop was how we take care of ourselves and authentically be who we are and put ourselves first, and practice letting down the walls that we've built around ourselves inwardly and outwardly, so that people can see us. And there's so much fear that's built up around that. And if what we don't realize is that when we let our walls fade away, we actually open ourselves up to the people who want to show up to love us, support us, to connect with us, to see us, to actually see us. So, as I was started to say, if you have been following me for a while, if you know me personally or professionally, I have always advocated and for meditation, a meditation practice, because there is no better way to connect with who you truly are than to sit in silence by yourself, with yourself. Let all the noise, the chatter, the I'm better off alone, I don't really actually need anybody in my life, I actually don't need connection, or nobody will love me if I'm not overgiving, or I have to do more because then they will love me more, for example, that kind of chatter. Or I can't do that. How am I going to do that? That's not possible. What will they think? All of those things, all of that mind chatter that shows up, that we squash down and we pretend doesn't exist. But that's the very stuff that bubbles up when we have that quiet moment. And that's why meditation is so important, because once you let that stuff bubble up to the surface, you're going to be able to actually release it, and it leaves a space for something more loving of yourself to come in and fill that space of fear that used to be filled with fear and anxiety. Now you might be thinking, good Lord, I have no time to meditate. And I would like to suggest that you make time, because when you quiet yourself and quiet your mind and sit in that quiet meditation. And it doesn't have to be a long time. You can start off small and in a shorter amount of time and work up to it. You will find that after a while, a couple of things are going to happen. Your day is going to be more peaceful. The way you interact with people is going to become more harmonious because you feel from the inside out rather from the outside in, and the sun is starting to shine directly into my face. So hopefully it doesn't become too overpowering, and I've got to pause the video to close the blinds. I think it'll be okay. So as a result of the meditation, because you start feeling from within instead of feeling from the outside coming in, you're actually going from the inside going out, and you just feel more peaceful, more happy, more content, less stressed, less worried. And meditation has become an everyday event in my life. And I call it event because it is an event for me. And if I don't do it for more than a couple days in a row, I find myself getting really anxious and really nervous. And, I have all kinds of doubts, fears, and insecurities that start to well up inside of me. So I know I'm starting to lose myself again, and the way to reconnect with myself and show up authentically to you and to the people in my everyday life, I know that I need to get back to that meditation. So that is my big suggestion for you, and to start that meditation practice, and start with one day at a time. And if you want to learn more about your attachment type, you can certainly contact me. I will leave my contact information below this video. And if you like, you can also go back into my video playlist and look at some videos I did over a year ago now on each of the different attachment types. And, if you're going to listen to those videos, please don't pigeonhole yourself into one way of being. It's entirely possible for you to be a secure type, but have feelings of anxiousness that come up. I know that happens for me occasionally too, and we're all works in progress. We're not perfect. We're all trying to heal our own love wounds, and that was the name of my workshop as well. It's called Heal Your Love Wounds. And it was quite a fabulous workshop. I thought it was. So one thing that I also do that you might not know is that I read tarot cards, and I read them from the perspective of positivity and loving. There's never ever going to be something bad that shows up in the cards in any kind of reading. And in the new year, I am going to start doing readings for you using just different oracle cards, different tarot cards. And I just dropped one of the cards, and I'm shuffling them as I'm speaking to you because I think that they further what's the right word I want to use? They further solidify messages that we know in our hearts to be true, and they serve as a validation. And I'm an intuitive reader. I hear things, I see landscapes and things that kind of play out as if it were a movie. And I would love to share more of my gift with you in helping you heal your own love wounds and show up in the world in a big, beautiful way. So I'm just shuffling here, and I'm going to just let Spirit pull the card or cards, whatever, with whatever messages that you need to hear for today. So I'm just going to focus in on these cards and see what comes up. And there we go. The Seven of Winter. This is from my fairy deck. And the Seven of Winter says, there is a better choice, not seeing things clearly, running away from the truth. And, isn't that so true? We always feel like we're um, skating on thin ice or slipping or tripping up over ourselves and not seeing our own truth. And what we don't see clearly is that when we own who we are, when we show up as our true, authentic self, we stop sliding around and skidding on ice and falling through the cracks and having so much fear about who we are. When we get in touch with who we are and see who we really are, we can show up in the world in a bigger, brighter way. So that's more validation about what we already talked about. So I hope that you have a lovely Monday wherever you are, and I'll be back in a few days. I'm going to try and do more and more of these videos, and of course in the new year I will be doing a full spread for you, full layouts on a regular basis to help you on your healing journey. And if you need to reach me, if you want to contact me for a personal reading, I will leave my email address below. If you want to contact me to get some more information about your attachment style and how it's showing up in your life and how you can start to heal that and move beyond that, you can contact me at that same email address. And as always, please leave your comments below and like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell button so that you get notification every time I post a new video. Sending you so much love and light and healing. Until next time. Bye.